able to see that on camera here. You'll want to have it close by so you can follow along. You can find that link as the link just below this on Facebook if you're watching live on Facebook at the moment. If you're on the video page, you probably can see it right below the video box there. So you're prepared. We'll be starting about 5 minutes. So we can still say Shabbat Shalom because we haven't done Havdalah yet. So Shabbat Shalom to all of you here in the sanctuary. Shabbat Shalom to those of you at home. We'll say that until we go through our Havdalah. You are hearing, if you're watching there, you may think that someone's playing the piano in here. That's actually a recording of a brilliant Jewish pianist named John, Jon Simon. You can find his music online. I've been a fan of his piano music for a long time. And that was his setting of Avinu Malkeinu, which we'll sing in just a bit. For those of you here in the sanctuary, you're going to find everything that you need right here next to me, and we're going to begin with Havdalah, and we will join first in this song here called La Yehudim Haita Ora. La Yehudim Haita Ora, Haita Ora, Besimcha, Besason, Vika. La Yehudim Haita Ora, Haita Ora, Besimcha, Besason, Vika. Keti Elanu. So the prayer book that we're using tonight is the same prayer book we used last year, except last year I was the only one here in the sanctuary. You were all online. This is a brand new prayer book that was published maybe about 2-3 years ago by CCR Press called Mishkan Halev, the Tabernacle of the Heart. And this is the prayer book that they created specifically for Selichot. It has some really beautiful readings, and I'll encourage you, whether you're here in person or at home, to read along, sing along with everything that you find here. But first, we must go through our Havdalah to separate from Shabbat into this opening service of our High Holy Day season. And so I would like to call up Mitch, Doris, and Sharon will be assisting me with the things that are here, our Havdalah symbols. And there is a piece of tin foil there to keep all of the wax in one place. And we'll join together as one congregation connected by these prayers, no matter where you are finding yourself tonight. We join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen borei pri hagafen borei pri hagafen yalai la 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 yalai la 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 yalai la 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 yalai la 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 yalai la 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 yalai la 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 borei mini v'sami Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei mini v'sami borei mini v'sami yadai la 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 yadai la 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 yadai la 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 yadai la 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 yadai la 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 yadai la 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 yadai la 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 yadai la la yadai la Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei meorei ha'esh borei meorei ha'esh borei meorei ha'esh yalai la 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 yalai la 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 yalai la la yalai la 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 yalai la 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 yalai la 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol. We extinguish the candle into our cup of wine. Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol Chatoteinu yimchol Zareinu v'chaspeinu yod bekachol v'chakochavim balayla Shavua tov, Shavua tov Shavua tov, Shavua tov Shavua tov, Shavua tov Shavua tov, Shavua tov A good week, a week of peace Make gladness reign and joy increase A good week, a week of peace Make gladness reign and joy increase Eliyahu Hanavi Eliyahu Hatishbi Eliyahu Eliyahu Hagiladi Bimhera Beyam Benum Yavo Eleinu Imashiach ben David Imashiach ben David Eliyahu Hanavi Eliyahu Hatishbi Eliyahu Hagiladi. This prayer book has a surprise because why should we only sing about Eliyahu Hanavi? We also have Miriam Hanivia. Same melody, go like this. Miriam Hanivia, Oz v'zimra biyada. Miriam tirkoditanu להגדיל זמרת עולם. מרים תרקוד איתנו לתקן את העולם. במהרה בימינו היא תביאנו אל מי הישועה. מרים הנביאה עוז וזמרה בידה. מרים תרקוד איתנו להגדיל זמרת עולם. Shavua Tov. Thank you to my assistants. And now that we have made that separation between Shabbat and the new week, we can now move into these sections of our Selichot service. This service traditionally actually is supposed to take place at midnight. The reason for that is to start the process of moving into the high holy day period on the first of the week, to begin it at like the first minute of Sunday, which would be the first day of the Jewish calendar week. We don't do that to you, but if you want to go home and do prayers, you can set your alarm. So we'll begin this section here with these prayers in this section, Bisha'arei HaSlichot, entering Selichot. And this quote by Martin Buber: God does not want to be believed in, to be debated and defended by us, but simply to be realized through us, as we sing Hashivenu, return again. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Elechem, Venashuvah, Venashuvah, Chadesh, Chadesh, Yameinu Kikedem. Hashivenu, Adonai Elechem, Venashuvah, Venashuvah, Chadesh, Chadesh, Yameinu Kikedem. We read together, last sliver of the moon, the waning crescent, small and slender, glowing in the east, at the end of the journey, a curve of silver barely there. Faintest light the eye can discern, like the soul within me, barely there, waning and weary as the year winds down. At the end of the journey, the old moon flickers out, and darkness awaits the new. Now, in this stillness, we can feel it being born. Remind us the horizon will be bright again. The waxing crescent will rise. Heal our hearts. Gather us in from the darkness. Restore the light within us. And thus, this line from Psalm 97 is about light, or Zarua, that light is sown for Lat Sadiq, for the righteous, as we join in this melody. Sadiq u'Yisrael simcha together. The psalmist sang, "At midnight I rise to give thanks and praise." And so we come to this hour of Selichot, under the canopy of night, to celebrate goodness, to proclaim what is right and true, to praise, to thank, to bless the great giver who gives and renews our lives. We turn to loved ones, to friends, and to our people everywhere, the whole house of Israel, and our hearts turn toward the human family. We pray for its healing. Yet hardest of all is the inward gaze, the return to ourself, the honest reckoning of the soul, cheshbon hanefesh. We ask how to account for selfish acts, lies, and senseless anger, how to account for the shadows, the storms, the bitterness in our lives, the damage and distress we cause, how to own up to it all and find our way back with integrity in peace. We ask, have we the will to change? And if not now, when? From Psalm 118, Pitchu li sha'arei tzedek, open for me the gates of righteousness. Pitchu li sha'arei tzedek, avo v'amodeya. 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 Coming up on September, white butterflies with single black finger paint eyes on their wings dart and settle, eddy and mate over the green tangle of vines in Labor Day morning steam. The year grinds into ripeness and rot, grapes darkening, pears yellowing, the first Virginia creeper twining crimson, the grasses dry straw to burn. The new year rises, beckoning across the umbrellas on the sand. I begin to reconsider my life. What is the yield of my impatience? What is the fruit of my resolve? I turn from my frantic white dance over the jungle of productivity, and slowly a nigun slides, cold water down my throat. I rest on a leaf spotted red. Now is the time to let the mind search backwards like the raven loosed to see what can feed us. Now the time to cast the mind forward to chart an aerial map of the months. The new year is a great door that stands across the evening, and Yom Kippur is the second door. Between them are song and silence, stone and clay pot to be filled from within myself. I will find there both ripeness and rot, what I have done and undone, what I must let go with the waning days, and what I must take in. With the last tomatoes, we harvest the fruit of our lives. We take this moment for our own silent personal reflection. Yisrael, Shemo She'erit Yisrael, Ve'al Yovad Yisrael, Ha'omrim Shema Yisrael, Shomer Goy Echad, Shemo She'erit Am Echad, Ve'al Yovad Goy Echad, Hamiyachadim Shimcha, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Our second section of this service is called Ha'havtacha li Slicha, the promise of forgiveness. We join together in this reading. We are taught, days are scrolls, write on them only what you want remembered, but we remember our weakness, and our days bear the mark of all that went wrong. On this night we have hope in the one who sustains us. Though we stumble and falter, you promise forgiveness. If we stray from the truth, you do not forsake us. If we sink to the depths, your mercy uplifts us. If our urges betray us, your compassion is endless. If we distance ourselves, you do not disdain us. If we abandon your teachings, still you embrace us. If we seek you sincerely, your presence surrounds us. You listen with yours. Though we stumble and falter, we are blessed by your promise. We join in this list of this beautiful list of poetic text. Ki anu amecha, we'll sing it a cappella. If you're used to the list that we have often sung in settings in the past, we're going to sing all the text here, and it'll just kind of continue on. So just go with the flow with me. You'll see what I mean. We go like this. Ki anu amecha ve'ata Eloheinu, anu v'hanecha ve'ata avinu, anu avadecha ve'ata Adonenu, anu kihalecha ve'ata chelkeinu, anu nachalatecha ve'ata goralenu, anu tzonecha ve'ata ro'enu, anu charmecha ve'ata notrenu, anu feulatecha ve'ata yotzrenu, anu rayatecha ve'ata dodenu, anu segulatecha ve'ata kerovenu, anu amecha ve'ata malkeinu, anu ma'amirecha ve'ata ma'amirenu. We are your vineyard, and you watch over us. We are your work, and you are our maker. We are your beloved, and you are our lover. We are your treasure, and you are the one we cherish. We are your people, and you reign over us. We offer you our words, and you offer us yours. So forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement. We are your people, and you are God forever, bound with ties eternal that even death cannot sever. We are your children, descendants of your sages. You are our parent whose love endures for ages. You are our leader, and we, your congregation. You are our protector, and we, your loyal nation. We are your vineyard fair, and you are its master. We are your faithful flock, and you are our pastor. We are your students whose learning is a pleasure. You are our teacher. Your Torah is our treasure. Guided by your gentle hand, we have survived all hatred, stubborn, stiff-necked in our own ways. We are your beloved. We spread your glory. You are our intended. We share your wondrous story. We are your portion. You are the one we cherish. We are your messengers. Our bond will never perish. Notice the river at break of dawn, a braid of streams, creeks, and brooks, a dance of insects near the shore. Notice how brackish where the river meets the sea, how with grace the river hugs the shore, fierce in its rising, fiercer when it falls. Notice it all, how it bends, how it tells the time of year, and how smooth the boulders are that guide its course. Notice the one blessed in acts of repair, in the unearthing of truth, in eyes that meet, in the tumult of change, in words of forgiveness, in the bridges we build to those we hurt, in the flow of a year, in the course of a journey, in rising and falling, in the bend of a river, in the hand we hold out to those who hurt us, in the life we are living, in blessing and in beauty. We have come to that point in our service where in just a moment we will be changing our Torah mantles, and we're going to change 3 of the Torahs, the ones that are in the front of the ark. Tonight we're going to leave the 2 in the second row for our kids tomorrow morning. In their first day of Sunday school for this year, we'll get to change the other 2, and then we'll have them all together as one united community of all generations. And this section is known as Bigdei Tohar, vestments of purity. Before we do that, we will sing these words of the 13 attributes of God. Adonai, Adonai. This is a setting that I have not ever used for High Holy Days, being that we usually have the choir singing here with me, but that setting doesn't work so well without the choir present. So we'll bring that back in the future. But for now, this is a setting by one of my colleagues, Cantor Leon Schur, that I just find it's a beautiful melody, and I learned it about a year ago. Adonai, Adonai, Rachum v'chanun, Adonai, 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 Rachum v'chanun, Adonai, Erech hapayim v'rach chesed ve'emet, Adonai, Notzer chesed Na'alafim noseh avon ma'afesha v'chata v'nakeh Adonai, Adonai Erachum v'chanun Adonai Adonai, Adonai Erachum v'chanun Adonai Erech hapayim v'rach chesed ve'emet Adonai Notzer chesed la'alafim Notzer avon ma'afesha v'chata v'nakeh Adonai, Adonai Erachum v'chanun Adonai Adonai, Adonai Erachum v'chanun Adonai. So, as we we move into changing the Torah, I haven't set this up in any specific way. We're going to play some beautiful piano music once again, the same one that you heard when you came in here. And I'm going to go to the Ark. If you would like to help change these Torahs, please feel free to come up. I will hand you, if you want to come to the Ark, then I'm going to hand you one of the Torahs. If you don't want to be handed one of the Torahs, then you can come over here and you can help change the scrolls. The one in the middle goes on the check scroll. The other two do not matter, but that is particular to the size of that scroll. And so we will start our music off and we will change our Torah mantles. There we go, beautiful picture. Torah changing music, here we go. Thank you all for your help. I think it's such a symbolic moment when the community comes together. That's why I didn't want to help you that much. I wanted the community to take the Torahs in your own hands and touch the Torah and really bring it into this moment, because it's a powerful moment. And when you return here again, they'll all be white, and I think it's it's a powerful moment for all of us. So we move into this last section of Selichot. These prayers, as you recognized a few already, these prayers have are most in common actually with Yom Kippur, not with Rosh Hashanah, because Selichot, that word really means, is connected to repenting and to find, the way it translates actually in modern Hebrew is like, excuse me, kind of almost like it's the word that's used in modern Hebrew when if someone bumps into you, they say slicha. So so this is connected with that section of the Yom Kippur liturgy that we'll see again in 2.5 weeks or so. We will now join this song. Actually, I'm going to move another Martin Buber quote. In order to perfect oneself, one must renew oneself day by day. So take every day leading up to, in the next 8 or so, 8.5 days till Rosh Hashanah, and you'll find yourself there. I was just introduced to a setting of this poem by the great poet Yehuda Halevi, and I would like to share this with you now. This is a new setting for me in the past year by Dan Nichols and my colleague Cantor Ellen Dreskin. Yana emsacha mekomcha na'ala v'nehelam ve'ana lo emsacha kivorcha malei olam. That's part 1. Yana emsacha mekomcha na'ala v'nehelam ve'ana lo emsacha kivorcha malei olam. Darashti kirvatcha v'chol libi kirvaticha ufseiti likratcha mikrati mitzaticha. Yana emsacha lekomcha na'ala v'nehelam ve'ana lo emsacha kivorcha malei olam. Darashti kirvaticha v'chol libi kirvaticha ufseiti likratcha mikrati mitzaticha. Darashti kirvatcha v'chol libi kirvaticha ufseiti likratcha mikrati mitzaticha. We join in these words of vidui, these words of confession. As the days of awe and ner, we reach for the infinite, mindful of our frailty. We seek the holy. Despite our mortality, we carry within us the ancient of days. Despite loneliness within, we sense that we belong to a single soul, a spirit that fills the entire universe. Let us find in that universal spirit a new source of strength and significance, more compassion, more generosity, more gratitude for life. Let our hearts be open to self-reckoning, and may we grasp how vital to our lives is teshuvah, the path of return. On this night of forgiveness, we confess our wrongs and take account of sins, failures of judgment, weakness of will. The hour is late, our need to be forgiven profound. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, tavo lefanecha tfilatenu ve'al titala mitchinatenu. Anachnu azefani mukshe oref lomar lefanecha, Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, tzadikim anachnu v'lo chatanu, aval anachnu chatanu. Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence, and when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In true, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong. Together we confess. Together we take responsibility. We rise for the first time as we enter into this High Holy Day season, as we join in these words of Ashamdu. Ashamnu, Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibarnu Dofi, Hevinu, V'hirshanu, Zadnu, Chamasnu, Tafalnu Sheker, Yatsnura, Kizavnu, Latsnu, Maradnu, Niatsnu, Sararnu, Avinu, Pashanu, Sararnu, Kishinu Oref, Rashanu, Shichatnu, Tiavnu, Tainu, Titanu. Together, we abused and abandoned, we acted without thinking, we blamed others when we failed, we boasted and belittled, we coveted and corrupted, we coerced the weak to do our will, we drove away those we love with silence, we deceived and denied, we enticed and enslaved, we exalted money and material goods, we fouled air, sea, and land, we flattered and falsified, we gravitated to those who gossip, we gave up our ideals and gave in to our impulses, we hated and humiliated, we held grudges and refused to forgive, we ignored and idolized, we insisted that we were right, we judged others rashly and wrongly, we were jealous and unjust, we killed, we were knowingly unkind, we kept to ourselves in the face of need. We lacked commitment to causes we espoused. We were lazy and we lied. We missed the mark and minimized our mistakes. We mocked what we did not understand. We neglected those who depend on us. We were negative and narcissistic. We overreached and overreacted, too often erupting in outbursts of anger. We poisoned and polluted. We perverted truth for personal gain. We quelled the voice of conscience within us. We quit too soon and quarreled too often. We ridiculed and resented. We refused to accept help. We rationalized our failings and our flaws. We spurned the wisdom of our tradition. We squabbled and scorned. We talked too much or not enough. We traumatized our children with anger. We issued ultimatums and made ugly threats. We uttered untruths and undermined with cynicism. We were vain and vicious. We vilified foreigners and strangers. We wasted time, strength, and talent. We wallowed in self-pity, wished but did not act. We exploited and expropriated. We expected others to save the world. We yearned too much for prizes and praise and failed to share fully in the joy of Zion reborn. For all these sins, our God, we ask forgiveness. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha be'ones uvratzon, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha bizadon uvishgaga, the ways we have wronged you under duress and by choice, the harm we have caused in your world deliberately and by mistake. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha bagalui uvasater, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha biyodim uvelo yodim, the ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, the harm we have caused in your world consciously and unconsciously. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'sinat chinam, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha birchilut, the ways we have wronged you by hating without cause, the harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'tzarut ayin, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'imut salev, the ways we have wronged you through a selfish or petty spirit, the harm we have caused in your world by hardening our hearts. Ve'al kulam Eloah Selichot, Selach lanu mechalanu kaper lanu, ve'al kulam Eloah Selichot, Selach lanu mechalanu, Selach lanu mechalanu kaper lanu. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement. You may be seated. We'll join in the rest of these together. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, we stray and we sin when we fail to make peace the highest good, and when we are silent in the face of evil, when we forsake those who suffer far away, and when we shun the wronged and destitute among us, when we diminish God's image through violence or indifference, and when we fail to take care of those who depend on us, when we engage in slander or deceit, and when we distort the truth for personal gain, when we judge others rashly or unfairly, and when we stoke the fires of communal strife, when we fail to embrace Torah, the tree of life, to walk its paths and make its ways our own, we stray and we sin. When we offer no blessings, no words of thanks for the breath within us and for the wonder of being. Ve'al kulam Eloah Selichot, Selach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement. מכפר ברחמים וברצון את תפילתנו, כי יש שומע תפילות ותחנונים. אתה שמע קולנו, אדוני אלוהינו, חוס ורחם עלינו. שמע קולנו, אדוני אלוהינו, חוס ורחם עלינו. יה לה 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 לה, יה לה 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 לה, יה לה 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 לה, 야 לה לה לה, 야 לה 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 לה, 야 לה 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 לה, 야 לה 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 לה, 야 לה 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 לה, 야 לה לה לה, 야 לה לה 라. We're almost there at the shofar, the sound of teshuvah, the call of tikkun. First, we'll read this. Hear, O Israel, hear now the heartbeat of Israel in the quiet space between a year that is ending and a year that begins. Hear the call of hope and joy, and hear the call of repentance and renewal. Hear the call to create and embrace. Hear the call to restore and to heal. Hear the call to atone and perfect, to search the soul and account for every deed. Hear the call to wrestle with sins and flaws, to fight injustice and serve the suffering. Hear the call to gather in the scattered sparks of divinity, and hear the call to seek the core of our humanity. Hear the call of compassion and forgiveness. Hear the call to return to Torah, to our people, to the one who teaches love and patience, mercy and truth. Hear the commanding sound of teshuvah. Hear the urgent call of tikkun. Forgive us, Avinu, we have sinned. Pardon us, Malkeinu, we have transgressed. For you are the one who pardons and forgives. Or maybe it's this way. Forgive us, Avinu. Pardon us, Malkeinu. And God replies, no, it's you. You are the one who must pardon and forgive. Forgive the ones around you. You're wasting precious time. Forgive your parents. They did the best they could. Forgive the one who betrayed you. Let go of anger and move on. Forgive yourself for your own imperfection. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, we come before you without pretense. Avinu Malkeinu, we are reaching toward you. Help us to find you. Avinu Malkeinu, strengthen us for the holy days that lie ahead. Avinu Malkeinu, be with us as we strive to heal ourselves and become whole. Avinu Malkeinu, help us to repair a broken world. Avinu Malkeinu, hasten for us the days of redemption. Join in these words of our traditional Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Konenu Vanenu, Ein Banu Maseh, Aseh Imanu, Tzedakah v'chesed, Aseh Imanu, Tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu, Avinu Malkeinu, Konenu Vanenu, Avinu Malkeinu, Konenu Vanenu. is my absolute pleasure to call forward our Baal Tekiah for tonight, Daniel Bachman, to come up and join me on the bima. Oops, gotta keep our calls up there. And let's have everyone rise as we join together in calling these three of our shofar calls, the first three of this high holy day season. Ready? Tekiah. Tekiah. And now we'll give him a moment to take a deep breath. Tekiah Gedolah. Do one more chance. Tekiah Gedolah. The gates are open. Have a great evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in tonight. Thank you. Yasher Koa.
Thank you. It was good.